They say there is a place that does not appear on the maps of men, a mountain whose summit does not yearn to be conquered, but to be understood. It is known in the quiet vernacular of the wind as the suspended peak, not because it floats above the clouds, but because in its presence, time itself seems to hold its breath, hesitating in its relentless march. The core legend, a tale passed not in books but in the embers of dying fires, speaks not of a god who resides on its summit, but of a god who is the summit. A primordial entity, one of the first thoughts of creation, who grew weary of the chaotic symphony of existence and chose to fall into a slumber of stone. Its sleeping form is the mountain, its slow breath is the wind that scours its slopes, and its eternal dreams are the clouds that veil its face. To climb the suspended peak, therefore, is not an act of physical conquest, but a reverent invitation to step inside the dream of a being for whom ages are but fleeting moments. It is a pilgrimage to the very architecture of silence. But this invitation carries a profound price, for the mountain does not demand the strength of your muscles or the fire in your lungs. It demands your noise. It asks for the incessant chatter of your thoughts, the heavy burden of your memories, the anxious pull of your desires. To reach its heart of stillness, you must first be willing to surrender everything that defines you as you. The journey begins not on a marked trail, but with an act of renunciation, the moment you decide to walk not to find something, but to become lost from everything. This is the silent call of the suspended peak, an offer to witness eternity, and perhaps, for a single, soul-altering instant, to share in its absolute and terrifying peace. The approach to the suspended peak is a slow baptism, a crossing of a threshold into another reality. The journey begins in the forest of muted echoes, a place where the familiar laws of the world begin to fray. The trees here are of a defiant, impossible antiquity, their trunks so wide they feel like the pillars of a temple built before mankind, covered in a thick carpet of moss that glows with a pale blue-green phosphorescence in the deep twilight beneath the canopy. The silence is the first thing you notice. It is not an absence of sound, but an active presence. The snap of a twig underfoot is instantly swallowed by the damp earth. A cough is absorbed by the thick, heavy air. It is a quiet so profound that you begin to hear the pulsing of your own blood, a fragile and frantic rhythm against the immense geological calm. The air itself feels different, thick with the scent of wet soil, of millennia of decaying leaves, and something else, a clean, cold scent of ozone, like the charged air after a lightning strike. The path is not a trail carved by hands, but a suggestion followed by intuition. It winds across a river of water so black and smooth it appears as a sheet of polished obsidian, reflecting not the sky above, but a star field that seems deeper and more ancient than the one you know. To drink this water is to feel a coldness that is not of temperature, but of age, a chilling reminder of the deep, slow time that governs this place. With every step deeper into the forest, the feeling of being observed intensifies. It is not the gaze of a predator, but the vast, dispassionate awareness of the mountain itself. The very landscape seems conscious. The world you left behind, with its noise and its urgency, begins to feel like a distant, half-forgotten dream. Here, the only truth is the overwhelming presence of the ancient earth and the silent journey towards its heart. The ascent is where the mountain begins to truly test its pilgrims, and its trials are rarely of the body, but of the soul. The first great challenge is the field of the memory stones. These are not mere rocks, but towering monoliths of a dark, vitreous mineral, scattered across the slopes like silent sentinels. When you gaze into their polished surfaces, you do not see your own reflection. Instead, you see glimpses, fragmented visions of deep time. You witness the slow, violent birth of a star, the patient unfurling of a fern in a world without men, the rise and fall of a city of impossible spires in the span of a single breath. The stones do not show your future. They show you the crushing scale of everything that is not you, forcing you to confront the breathtaking brevity of your own existence. Many turn back here, their spirits unable to bear the vertigo of such profound insignificance. Should you pass this test, you will eventually walk into the gray fog. It rolls in without warning, a thick, colorless mist that erases the world. Within it, the silence becomes absolute, a pressure against the eardrums. And in that pressure, the whispers begin. They are not the voices of ghosts, but the echoes of your own past. Every harsh word you've ever spoken, every promise you've failed to keep, the laughter of someone you can no longer remember clearly. The fog is a crucible of regret, a trial that forces you to walk alongside the phantoms of your own making. To listen to them, to follow them, is to become a whisper yourself, lost forever in the mist. The final and most subtle trial is the unseen path. For long stretches, the trail simply vanishes. There are no markers, no clearings, nothing. To proceed is an act of pure faith. It is here the mountain demands the one thing you have left, your analytical mind. Only by ceasing to think, by quieting the panic and the calculation, can the way forward be found. It is a path that is not seen with the eyes, but felt with a stillness deep inside, an intuitive sense that rises only when the mind is utterly silent. It is the mountain's final lesson. To find its silent heart, you must first find your own. After the trials of time, regret, and faith, the traveler arrives at the heart of the suspended peak. It is not a triumphant, windswept summit, but something far more profound. A vast, perfectly circular caldera, an amphitheater of stone shielded from all wind. This is the eye of stillness. The floor is a flawless disk of smooth, black rock, and the walls curve upwards to frame a sky of such a deep, star-dusted indigo that it feels like looking into the void itself. Here, the silence becomes a physical entity. It is a presence that fills the air, presses gently against the skin, and slows the frantic beat of the heart. A shouted word is swallowed before it is fully formed. A dropped stone makes no sound. It is here, in this living silence, that the final revelation occurs. There is no booming voice, no burning bush, no ancient god to meet. The revelation is the experience. The linear progression of time dissolves. The traveler's consciousness, finally untethered from the anchor of ego and memory, expands. It flows outwards, merging with the stone, the sky, the silence. For a timeless moment, the self is gone. You feel the slow, patient grind of tectonic plates as your own bones shifting. You feel the silent fall of starlight on your skin across millennia. The past, present, and future cease to be a sequence and become a single simultaneous point of existence. The crushing solitude of the journey transforms into a perfect, all-encompassing unity. You are the rock, you are the star, you are the silence. It is a beautiful and terrifying ego death, a momentary return to the source of all things. It is the understanding, not in thought but in being, that you are not merely a visitor on the mountain. You are, and have always been, a part of it. The descent from the suspended peak is a quiet rebirth. The journey down is through the same landscapes, but you are no longer the same traveler. The world, once so loud and chaotic, now seems muted and distant, its urgency revealed as a fleeting illusion. The person who returns from the mountain does not carry back ancient artifacts or secret knowledge. They carry back an echo of the great silence. It resides in their eyes, a newfound depth that speaks of having witnessed vast geological time. It lives in their movements, a deliberate calm that feels alien in the hurried pace of modern life. The mountain offers no answers to the small questions of a human life, but it dissolves them in the face of a much larger perspective. It teaches that the greatest challenges we face are not external peaks to be conquered, but the internal landscapes of our own noisy minds. It proves that in true stillness, there is not emptiness, but the undiluted presence of everything. The final lingering truth of the suspended peak is that perhaps this sacred portal, this core of silence and eternity, is not a place one must travel to find. Perhaps it exists within each of us, a quiet mountain buried beneath the sediment of our fears, our ambitions, and our daily distractions. And the most vital pilgrimage we can ever undertake is not measured in miles, but in the courage to, just for a moment, stop, silence the world, and listen to the ancient, patient voice of the stillness within.